Welcome to another episode of Behind the Build on the Drift HQ channel, and today we are with Odie. What's up, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Thank you for bringing this thing by. Odie's stopped by the compound a few times now with his car, turned it around before FD Orlando. This time we got a little bit of extra time, and not only is he going to give us a walk around on, would you say this setup is probably one of the most winningest setups in FD?
I think it's very consistent. Yeah, and we had very good results if you span the whole, season or the whole Formula Drift career. So, and it's always been an S chassis that I've been driving. So yeah, I'd say this package is tried and true.
Not only is he going to give us a walk around on the car, I'm also going to get the chance to drive it. And I did get the chance to drive one of your cars before. And would it be similar to this?
So I'm very excited for you to drive this because I think it is quite different.
Okay.
We've evolved. We evolve every single year, and it's been a handful of years. So I'm very excited for you to try this and see the difference.
Now, mind you, I don't really know anything when it comes to LS engines. I'm not really a believer. Maybe this car will make me a believer, but all these like acronyms and numbers and stuff, you guys will probably understand way more than I will. All right, so what's the displacement? I know that now.
It's the typical 427, so 7 liter. It's basically like an LS7 architecture, but it's, everything's built up. The block is aftermarket, heads are aftermarket. It was put together by Hustler Race Engines out in California, and you just gotta have a lot of attention to detail. It's not anything out of like crazy secret proprietary stuff. It's like off the shelf parts really, just put together in a high quality fashion. And then obviously a big Vortex supercharger and some nitrous on top of all that to like fine tune the power band, where we want it and how hard we want it to hit and when we want it to start falling off.
Now, you said it's an aftermarket block. It's an aluminum block, right?
Yeah, LSR aluminum block. Yep.
Now, how would this compare to the weight of a JZ? Like with all the supercharger stuff?
We were just talking about it, joking around. Let's quickly pull this out and weigh it.
I know.
Like weigh all of our engine packages. I honestly think it's very similar because the supercharger is huge, man. Intercooler is huge. I got 2 electric fans on the intercooler. So the forced induction package adds a lot of weight to this very lightweight motor.
This is crazy to me. I don't know why. I've never actually like looked at the supercharger stuff, that the intake goes backwards.
Oh yeah, so you can flip the supercharger either way. Some people flip it forward to have obviously cleaner air going into it, but there's drawbacks. If you do that, you have more weight hanging over the front of the vehicle. You gotta kind of pick and choose.
Now, obviously, you're a bit of a suspension guru yourself. Anything fancy going on with the setup on this car? I know you were one of the people that pushed me to try the new WiseFab.
I guess the coolest thing, and now it's not like really secret and cool anymore, the front rack. So we use a BMW rack like you do in your E36, and it's in front versus being traditionally in the rear of most Nissan chassis. And that was something that I was the only one that ran and had for at least a season in Formula Drift, but now it's available to everyone. WiseFab markets this kit as the Odie kit, and it's available, and a lot of guys are running it, including yourself on your S14. But we're always changing stuff and trying stuff, and there's, to be transparent, I'm modifying and changing things, and maybe if that works, if it actually is something that is an improvement, then you'll see it probably come out, because I share all this data with WiseFab. And if they like it and they feel like it's a marketable thing, then there'll be, another version of the steering kit for the S chassis. The rear is a WiseFab off-the-shelf kit. So everyone for the most part has got the same kit by now. It's like version 2 or whatever it's called. And it's so adjustable that I think every driver changes the knuckle angle a little bit, toe gain, like there's so many things you adjust that there's no need to reinvent the wheel and put different parts on and cut and modify anything, because you could just adjust it to the moon to make the car really slow and terrible or really fast and gripped up.
So this car is an S14. This is the car that Simon drove last year, right?
Yeah.
And you were in a 15.
Yep.
So what's the story behind the switch from the 15 to this?
Well, this was originally a car that I was building for myself. This was my spare chassis, and when I was going to retire this 15, I was going to jump in this and drive it because it's just fresher and cleaner. I always wanted an S15. It was like a check-off box, so I have it, it's fun. And when we decided that we're not going to campaign multiple cars, I was like, well, I'm going to pick the freshest build, right? This is only 2 years old, where my S15 was built in 2019. So it just made most sense. Hop in the fresher car that hasn't been on a frame machine, that has the least amount of hits.
That makes sense. So body-wise, how much carbon Kevlar you got going on?
So this is the M-Spec carbon Kevlar kit. So it's basically bumper to bumper, excluding doors and still the original metal roof. Doors are fiberglass, but they're super flexible. We haven't really felt the need to change that to carbon Kevlar, honestly. They're lightweight, flexible, and they clear the roll cage quite well. I mean, minus this was a little bit of an afterthought. I pushed the door bars out really, really far on this thing because I wanted a lot of elbow room, just a lot of room, and I got a little greedy there and goes into the door card. So
very clean and simple interior. What gearbox?
GSR, G-Force. Yeah, I think you run the same as well, right?
Yeah, no reason to ever try anything else.
Dude, I tried everything.
Yeah.
I've had 2 different sequentials in my cars, and I thought it was the coolest thing, but then there's always some deal breaker.
Yep.
And with G-Force, it's like, you need a part, you overnight it, it's here.
What's interesting is like the conception in Europe is that like this is so rudimentary compared to like the civilized like sequential.
Yeah.
But I think with most of the tracks that we drive, if you're shifting more than 2 times, you have a problem.
You're doing something wrong.
Exactly. So like if you think about it, an H pattern really is almost a sequential because all you're ever doing is maybe like boom boom or boom boom.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, you're rowing between 3rd and 4th, where if your shifter is set correctly, the detents only allow you to push or pull, and that's it.
Yep.
So it makes sense.
It's the way.
It's the way, and it's lightweight, and it's easy to work on. I'm not like a drivetrain specialist, but I could take these apart, put them back together.
Yep.
It's not a big deal.
And it's very easy to get parts. Some of those sequentials, I don't know if you've been down that road, it's a pain to get parts for.
On one of the brands, that was the deal breaker.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so one thing that's always fascinating to me is there's so many different ways to build out the rear end on drift cars with where you put the weight, where you put the fuel cell, where you put the radiator. So I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts because you've built many versions of these of like why you put what where.
Yeah, yeah. This is very kind of traditional now. Like if you see an S chassis, you see the window cut down halfway, right? That's just like oftentimes the best way to do it. I'm not a big polar weight guy. I don't like a lot of weight behind my rear axles. So I try to like scooch everything as far forward as possible. Yeah, this is kind of a higher center of gravity having the fuel cell up here, but you don't have the polar weight of it having behind the rear axles. And there's not really much weight or areas to put it inside the cab, like behind the seat or anything. So this is kind of the middle ground here between polar weight and center of gravity. This is what I settled on, and it works well. Radiator, it's a must, rear radiator for at least my configuration, because the intercooler, the Supercharged, is already a lot of front weight. And other than that, just expansion tank back here. There's not really much else. There's a Mega Life battery under there, but it doesn't really weigh anything, so it doesn't really add much to the polar weight. We just got it here, so it's not inside the car, not cluttering stuff. Yeah, Durality brushless fans. I think that's kind of like the go-to now, brushless fans in all of our big circle track radiators. That's kind of like the cookie cutter deal. And obviously Radium FCST, that's kind of the go-to. The only thing I did a little different is I love Radium and I love their fuel cells, but in order for not hacking up the chassis too much, like actually retaining this factory area right here, I just got Fuel Safe to make me a custom cell that fits the confines of an S chassis there. I'm always like a guy that's like, cut the least amount, keep it as OEM as possible, and have things that drop in easy. So
yeah.
Save me some fab work, and all my S chassis kind of retain that same fuel cell size, so I just wanted to make it fit my cookie cutter builds.
So for people that aren't familiar with this car, what are your power figures? What does it make for horsepower? What does it make for torque? And what does it rev to?
Without nitrous, about like 900 to 950 to the wheels. Torque is like high 7s, low 8s without nitrous, and then with nitrous we're making anywhere to like 1175 on horsepower, right below like 900 foot-pounds of torque, and we could kind of manipulate it a lot like in that window. And if I get greedy, I could probably go a little bit higher than 1175. Freddie at Spec-Tune kind of cuts it off before rev limit, a safe cushion cutting off nitrous before we hit rev limit, and rev limit soft limit usually 7200.
That's good.
Yeah, and then hard limit 74, 75, but we ran it higher.
I was gonna say, it certainly sounds pretty high. Like, it sounds sick.
Some tracks we run it like, I don't want to change the gearing, right? Because I want a little bit more wheel speed, but I don't want to bog the motor at lower RPM, so we just jump up the rev limit. I just don't like running higher rev limit at every single round, because cumulative over the season, it's hell on the on the motor. So
would you say, I mean, like me visually, obviously there's a lot that goes on. Like, this looks like a fairly simple car. This
I think it's very simple.
Yeah.
And this car could be legal in Pro Spec, 100%. I retain the factory steering column, factory pedal set. The intent was to build a car that if I want to rent it in Pro Spec, it's eligible, and keep it as simple as possible.
That's cool.
Yeah, if I have to replace it, it's like easy to replace.
Yeah.
Transfer it to another chassis, all this stuff.
All right, so before we go drive this thing, I think the last thing to talk about is your wheel and tire spec, because obviously we know it's kind of like a standardized thing at this point. For the people that don't know, what do you got going on?
So I've run actually pretty large front wheels. Some guys run 17s, and
I'm
in the
one
front.
of those guys.
Yeah. So 18s all the way around, 18 by 9.5. So it's not only a large diameter wheel, it's pretty wide up front, but there's so much space. I felt like it's fine. And I'm kind of greedy with front grip, opposite of you.
I was just looking, you got a 265 on this, John? Sheesh. I'm like a 245 over there.
I think our driving styles are different. 265 GT radials up front, 295 GT radials out back. I think there's a good amount of grip in this thing. I'm excited for you to drive it. You gotta like know where it is and capitalize on it to make sure like the power is being transferred to the rear. I'm picky about the way I drive with the clutch, and we actually changed the clutch systems on all the cars. When you drove my car, it had the full-size clutch. It was a lot of rotating mass. I went to the ACT triple, which is like a small 7¼ diameter. So it revs a little bit higher, but it has no like negative downsides of like a small chattery clutch or anything.
Got it.
So I think that suits this engine with a big tire. I think it's even better. It's not a little less lethargic because the Supercharger does take a lot of power to spin up. So it gets past that a little quicker.
Interesting.
It's kind of like turbo lag in a way.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like a clutch is such an overlooked thing. Like certain engines, like I hate like a light clutch on like a 4-cylinder, which sounds so counterintuitive because you actually need the inertia to be able to have the hit from the clutch kick. Where I think in the other way around, because you have the torque free revving, you don't need that inertia as much.
I feel like there's a lot of rotating mass in the engine itself, right? Like you said, small displacement motor, you probably feel like it wakes up quickly, but then it like falls asleep quickly too.
If you don't clutch kick from rev limiter, you have nothing to
or you
light
initiate
off.
And you have to like just let it live at like high RPM before you even think about dumping the clutch. So yeah, this thing is a little bit different. I think it hangs RPM a little bit longer anyway because it's a lot of rotating mass, I think.
Oh my gosh, this is so flexible. I just like barely leaned on it. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing, it's like very much flexible. You have to brace this body kit a little bit because it is so flexible, which is like cool if you hit things because it gives, but then at the same time you have to be extra cautious the way you mount it, otherwise it's like droopy. So that bumper's been through hell. That's the same bumper since Long Beach.
I love it.
M-Spec did a good job, but it is extra flexible because it's got extra fulcrum points everywhere and cracks. Yeah, I'm excited for you to drive this thing, man.
Cool, let's
see
do
what
it.
you think. Sharp edge, or is that like been a thing that's happening?
Yeah, I don't really pay attention because you can't really see it in the car.
No, you can't.
It's definitely getting worse, but I don't think it'll affect you here because you're not at like big lock there. You're kind of going straight. I do think it'll need repairs at some point.
Yeah, I don't think I ever like actually looked at it. The last time we were busy, I just went and did it.
I noticed over here some of the new concrete as well is starting to erode. Yeah. All these grippy tires. That's weird, isn't it?
Right.
It's like ripping up these weird little patches. 'Cause this was all new concrete. It's kind of weird how it's like ripping up the little circles.
This?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Down to rebar.
I know. It's strange.
Or is the rebar starting to rust and swell and...
Weird, right?
It could be settling, and when it's settling, the rebar isn't.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
So he's driven here before, but I don't think he's ever driven here with me here. I think I was out of town or something, and I got a video on the cell phone of him ripping this place, and it's so cool to see. I do want to add a disclaimer. You're not seeing him go in the drop because there's like 3 feet of water over there.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's not doing it on purpose. He's not doing it on purpose. It's wet.
This sounds crazy echoing out here.
Sounds like an airboat. Spicy airboat. It does sound really good for like a supercharged V8.
Yeah.
I'm usually a hater.
How do you feel? Feels good. I want to check under the hood. There's like a little puff of smoke I saw there, but it might have just been lingering smoke.
Yeah. I don't think I was here the last time you tested this here. It's cool watching it moving around.
Yeah. There's a lot of grip on your track.
Yeah. My track, he calls it.
I mean, it is your track. This does not feel like you're driving a driveway or a backyard.
Yeah, it's hooked up.
It's hooked up and there's space to kind of open it up. Like right here, so.
It's so cool that we're able to do this. Like getting to see an FD car rip around the parking lot, like All right, give me the rundown. How do I fire this puppy up?
All right, so make sure it's in neutral, obviously. Don't fire it now, but you hit the ignition button. No throttle on crank, just go for it.
And then run nitrous if I want nitrous.
Run nitrous if you feel like it's slaggy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Already very What's cool is Freddie's tuned this car, so I know the tune's gonna be spot on too. Super intuitive to drive. Hell yeah.
Dude, that is not bad for a first lap in a foreign S chassis.
Right?
Holy smokes. I hope he loves it because it looks freaking good.
Oh, he loves it.
He's, the lack of side by, I can tell, scares him. He's off the auto for so long, not knowing that the forward's gonna.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. What a sick car. It just does all the cool things. It's so, like, the fact that I get to do this, and mind you, the day before an FD round. Hell yeah. That's a good time.
Warms my heart seeing that thing just fucking hammered.
Yeah, I fuck with this thing.
What's up?
I fuck with this car.
You do? Good.
It
First lap, I could tell, timid, not much side bite. You were like, okay.
It was better than I expected. When you said be careful, I like try to enter really early,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's super intuitive. Like I didn't need to think about anything.
Yeah.
I could see running third, I could see maybe needing the nitrous, and second you don't. But when I started clicking third, I was like, all right, maybe.
But third looks so much faster.
Dude, I was moving.
Yeah, you were keeping it on the pipe.
I got a little confused in the hairpin the first time because I thought I was in second, but I was in third because of the shifter.
I was like, he'll figure it out. It's like one dump, two plunge dumps. I was like, third one, he'll figure it out. Sure enough, I'm
Yeah. Hell yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Woo! That was sick. I would say definitely the engine's sick. Like the power band's sick. Definitely my favorite V8 I've ever driven because it's like it has the torque, but it also has excitement up top. Where I feel like most of the V8s that I've driven, they're such a dog down low.
Okay.
That it kind of ruins some of the fun. It almost like it's like you took away the turbo, and then you have no fun down low or up top.
Yeah, I hate motors that don't like. To me, I say they don't have soul, right?
Yeah.
They don't like
it's
give
got
you
soul.
feedback. This thing is like a little firecracker.
Yeah.
So
It sounds cool. And the biggest thing for me, we were just talking about, is it's super intuitive to drive. A lot of times there'll be like some weird quirk about a car, the way that it has grip in the rear or the front, and then you have to drive with your brain rather than like intuitively. And I feel like what makes a good competitive car is like, I mean, mind you, like this may be similar to what I'm used to, it's just being able to drive with feel.
yeah, and those little yes, you heard it.
Not like that. Not like you
I'm
wish.
just joking.
You wish.
I know,
This
I know.
guy.
What you're saying though, those little things though, if it's intuitive, they stack up on the track when you have so much other going on
Yeah.
on the track. Like, oh, you have the slippery spot in outer zone 2, the car rotates at around inner clip this, then not having to think about the actual car. I think there's nothing very unique and like super special about this. It's just easy to drive all around.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for trusting me to drive this thing.
Yeah, dude.
Especially the day before
Thanks
Orlando.
for driving it.
Yeah.
Putting on a show, man.
Yeah.
You know this track so well.
Yeah.
Second lap out, I was like, dude, he's driving harder than I'm driving my own car. And yeah, you just know like, hey, I sink the front over the grass here, go wide with the rear here, and you just like pinball it like straight through.
It definitely is deceiving because you can stay flat through there when it looks like you can't.
Yeah, it looks sharp coming out of the hairpin to go left. You're like, dude, this is gonna be a 180-degree turn.
Yeah.
Sick,
no.
man.
I love this place. It's like, it's one of the few places I still enjoy solo driving.
It's a nice spot, and you have so many different ways to go around the track, which keeps it fun and entertaining.
Cool.
Too bad that thing was full of water, the drop off.
I know, it would have been sick to jump in there.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you again. If you guys want to check out anything more about Odie, we'll put all his socials, websites, and everything on the screen. Massively appreciate you coming by. Make sure to let us know what you want to see next on the Drift HQ channel, and we hope you enjoy this video.